Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. Today I would like to talk about all the new Kroot reveals. Actually, I wanted to talk about these miniatures quite a while ago, but of course they didn't show all of them at once. They have been doing it slowly, and quite recently we had this post in Warhammer community showing the new Lone Spears, and those are supposed to be the last reveals, and that's why I'm finally making this video. And before I start, I have to say that I love what Games Workshop did with the Kroot, because I think that this refresh of the miniatures and adding new units is going to make the Tau faction much more interesting, not only in terms of the variety of miniatures that you can get, but also in terms of gameplay. But we're here to talk about miniatures, so let's take a look at the new Kroot, starting with the new Carnivores. Basic Kroot troop, and I have to say here that there's not much surprises in terms of we had not long ago a new Kroot specific kill team, so there we will able to see how a Kroot that was not made 20 years ago would look like today, and also the Kroot hounds. So let's say that how they look is not a huge surprise, but still I'm quite happily surprised about how the Carnivores look, because you have there like a lot of different poses and they look different between each other. That's quite nice. They are not all the same generic troop unit. They look quite different, and that's nice. We have some action poses, we have some of them that they are looking more calm. Then we can clearly see that they are like strong and agile, and that's nice. And with the equipment that they have or all the decoration, it's different, so this will give them a little bit more of personality to each one of them. I like how they look. They look nice. Before I talk about the Kroot hounds, let's take a look at how they used to look before. And now let's look how they look now. I think that the upgrade is huge. They have much more details, they have better proportions, they look more muscular, they look more like proper Kroot hounds. When you think about a Kroot hounds, the previous ones were, I mean, they were outdated, let's say it like that, because of course they were made quite a while ago, so it's nice that we have new ones. What I love about the Kroot Carnivores and Hounds is that yes, they are new miniatures, but of course they feel like how a Kroot would look like, so that's quite nice. They didn't change anything, they just took what they had and then they upgraded to the standards that we have today, and that's quite nice. They just got a huge upgrade. And talking about huge upgrades, let's talk about my favorite upgrade, and of course probably everyone's favorite upgrade. Let's talk about the Krootox Rider, because this one it's looking amazing. I mean, again, let's take a quick look at how this miniature used to look like, and now let's compare it with how it looks now. I mean, the old one, it's a classic and we probably like it a lot, but now this new one is much better in every single way. It's much better in terms of proportion, it's much better in terms of size. The Krootox needed to be bigger, because of course like this it looks like, okay, it can be super strong, but it's carrying a Kroot that it's almost its own size with a weapon that is almost its own size. Here we can clearly see a difference, that the Krootox is huge compared with the Rider that it has. And it's not only that this new miniature has better proportions or it's more detailed, no, it's also that the concept that they went for the Kroot with this tribal style, you can clearly see that this Krootox is very important, and it has like a lot of different details and customization options, and that's always a plus, because you can clearly see a difference between the normal Kroot Carnivore, that is like the most basic one, not many decorations, just enough to make it look different from other Carnivores, but they are quite similar to each other in terms of when you look at all of them, the whole unit. And here you have like a clear miniature that has like a lot of details and decoration in itself, so you can customize this one in a lot of ways, and that's always nice. This is something that I always appreciate, and it looks fantastic. It looks great. It looks great. And finally, let's stop talking about miniatures that deserved a huge upgrade and let's go for the new miniatures and units. And let's start by the Krootox Rampagers. I love comparing these new miniatures with the Krootox Rider because the previous one, it had this calm pose, let's say. It was standing still, it was like more like a shooting platform with a lot of decorations. It was kinda nice. But these new Krootox Rampagers, they have like super dynamic poses. They are literally charging against the enemy, and you can clearly see here the difference because it's not like they have decoration in their arms, it's that they have actual armor in their arms to protect them, because they are going to charge the enemy and fight them with their like bare hands. So of course they need to have some protection just in case, and some of them they also have it in the head. So it's quite nice looking miniatures, and I love how they look. They have like such a dynamic poses. It's like I said, they are charging, they feel quick, they feel agile, they feel strong, and I like how they look. They look quite nice. I mean, this one is probably one of the new ones that I like the most because it's probably big, it's the concept is cool, and it suits totally within the Kroot. Before I talk about the characters, let's take a look at the Lone Spears, the last miniature that they revealed. And I like this one, okay? I like it a lot because the concept is super cool. I mean, maybe I'm a little bit sad that they are not riding something that looks like a Kroot, but still this Calamandras thing, they look super cool. And I like the concept of the miniature. You have like a specific long Kroot riding this Calamander thing, and they mentioned that this creature can change color, so that means that you can have like the most crazy color scheme that you want, because it will be totally justified. It's always justified, but in this case it's overly justified, so that's quite nice. And I really like that the rider in this miniature looks completely different from the other riders that we saw previously. I mean, the details matter a lot. It's not just a Kroot riding a thing, no, you have different Kroots riding different things, and that is great, and that adds a lot of variety because we have 3 different mounted Kroot units. All of them, they look completely different, they have completely different purposes, and that's what makes them quite interesting and nice. It seems like the Calamandra can't change the pose, or at least the pose is the same for the miniatures that they have showed, like the different color schemes and assemblings, but the rider can change completely, and it will have one purpose or another depending on the weapon loadout that we choose, and depending on that, it's also going to look completely different. So as I said, I mean, customization and ways of changing things, they are always nice, because of course we like to have unique things, so this is quite interesting. I really like this kind of concept of miniatures, and as I said, I love to have variety. And to finish the video, let's talk about Kroot characters, and it's nice to say this in plural because we used to have a Kroot shaper that used to look like this, and it's not bad, it's just that it's quite old. But right now we have 3 different types of shapers, and that's quite nice. This adds a lot of variety, and variety is always nice. I'm going to start with the trail shaper, and things. It looks like the one that has the least type of decorations. I mean, as I said earlier, I love the tribal style of the Kroot. I mean, you can clearly see that the basic troops, they have like these motifs and decorations and equipment, but as long as they increase in rank, you can clearly see how they look more, let's say, important miniatures. That's always nice. It happens the same, for example, with the Space Marines, that the Intercessor has almost nothing on it, and the Captain has like a lot of things going on them. There's too much decoration sometimes, but I like to have that concept here as well. It looks quite nice. It seems like maybe there's not much choices in terms of pose or weapon, but it looks okay. I mean, the concept, it's quite simple. It's a trail shaper, so it's like pointing the trail, and that's fun. It's okay. I'm not going to mention the meat that is hanging out there, but it's like a nice small detail that can be fun, so it's always cool. Then we have the Flesh Shaper, and like the previous one, it seems like there's not going to be much option for customization in terms of weapons or pose, but still looks cool. I mean, I really like to compare these two characters because one of them is standing still, pointing the way, and it looks calm. And when you look at this one, it has like a more like an action pose. I mean, it looks like he's going to push forward. He's carrying two close combat weapons. It looks more aggressive, and that's always kind of interesting and nice. I like when characters look different between each other. That's always a welcoming thing. And to finish the video, I would like to talk about the War Shaper, another character. As I said, we have 3 different kinds of Shaper right now, and to me the War Shaper is the one that looks the coolest, because of course here we have customization options, and this is supposed to be like the main supreme commander of the Kroot in the battlefield, so of course it needs to look and it needs to look better than the previous ones. So that's why I like how this one looks. I really like, for example, this pose with the bow. It looks quite nice. As I said from the beginning, the Kroot have like this tribal style, and you can clearly see that the basic Kroot, quite basic, just a little bit of decorations and things on them, and then we are going up and building up until this one that is like fully dressed and it's carrying a lot of things on himself. That's why you can clearly see that this one is a much more important member of the Kroot community, and that's always nice when you look at the miniatures and you can clearly see which ones are more important than which ones, and it's nice. I really like what Games Workshop did with the Kroot. I love the style and they look fantastic. With this one we can see that the main body is the same for all the options, but we can choose between different arms and weapons, and also we can change the head, so it's always nice to have customization options in the character that it's supposed to lead the army to battle. And as I said previously, I really like what they did with the Tau faction. Now there's more options. I'm happy that probably we will see more variety in the Tau armies, and they also mentioned that there's going to be like one detachment specific for the Kroot, so we can be able to see them on their own. Maybe we're going to see like a huge force of Kroot and then just some Tau fire support. So that's kind of nice. It suits the lore, it suits the game, and it's going to make it more fun, I think, or I hope. We will see what happens, but what I have to say right now is that I love these miniatures. Thankfully, I'm not a Tau player. I have other armies to paint and finish, and that's why I can skip all of this even if it looks great. And with that being said, I don't want to repeat myself saying that the miniatures look cool and nice and I like them, because that's what it is. I just like these miniatures. So that's the end of the video. So as usual, if you're still here, please consider giving me a like and subscribing. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time.